My question is, what motivates a person to stay out on the street or unhoused for over 5 to 10 years? I just cannot wrap my head around that, but you actually encountered those people. Because I don't want to see them die, but there's people here that just need to know.
So something that we see commonly is there is a sense of community among many of the homeless individuals that we encounter every single week. A lot of them don't want to leave the areas that they're familiar with. Many of them have grown up nearby. They have friends in their areas. And there are several organizations throughout the county and Anaheim specifically that have enabling behaviors by, bringing individuals food, clothing. Matt the other day saw someone who was doing laundry for folks in the riverbed and bringing it to them. And so there is a certain level that while those things are well-intentioned and wonderful to do to help out our community, at the same time it's not contributing to a long-term solution for that individual. It's just helping them sustain where they are. And I'll use just one individual that we've known for 5 years here in Anaheim, and he's been offered 2 housing opportunities. One he thought was just too far away. It was a permanent supportive housing unit in Lake Forest, and he just felt like it was too far away from home. And another one that was close by, he felt like because it would take a percentage of his income, he wouldn't be able to sustain it, even though it was a low-income opportunity, and he was just scared to take that next step. And so a lot of times options that are brought to our individuals, there's just so many different factors that go into it. One individual I know wants to live by the beach, and that's going to be difficult to accomplish. So I think, every individual has their different history and their different needs and what they feel comfortable with, and they do, they have their families that they're with out on the streets, and so it is hard to detach from that strong community and try something brand new in a new housing option, wherever it is, whether it's local or far away. I think that's a tough challenge for a lot of folks out there.
I think one of the things that's glaring in the data is the substance abuse issue. I think that's one of those big challenges. I think it is a gap, as we've been talking about. That's something that we're going to have to get our heads around quickly, particularly if you start looking at some of the riverbed populations and others. To your question, the idea of sort of what keeps people out, oftentimes it's things like that, where you begin to lose hopelessness and you do things that aren't true to who you are wanting to be, and so then things begin to sort of take over your life, and next thing you know, you're 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you end up seeing chronic situations where people are out there for more than 2 years, particularly if with some of those enabling activities you aren't even prioritizing your resources to the things that are viable needs. You're sort of medicating, which makes sense if you're actually experiencing difficult days. That's going to be a challenge, particularly in terms of the investment of time of getting people and catching them at that moment. That is really hard to catch somebody who's perfectly okay doing whatever self-destructive things in terms of addictions that have got a hold of them. That becomes really challenging when you are talking to people on a regular basis. They're saying, no, I'm good, actually. So that's a big problem, especially when you look at the data. It speaks to that substance abuse issue.